Hey, hey, hey! It's 6 p.m. and it's Thriving Thursday time! Oh, I'm so excited to be here today. Like I mentioned real early, and I'm just going to give you that spiel why people start purring in. Today is my 1-year business anniversary with NEP Woods Life Coaching, and I am super excited because I didn't think I was going to be this excited until the day finally arrived. It was one of those exercises in really celebrating life and celebrating accomplishments and celebrating, like I mentioned last week, my own definition of success. And that is something, this is a feeling that I haven't had ever, I think, not even in the previous businesses that I had. And when I decided which I decided this morning, by the way, what this Thriving Thursday was going to be about, I could have gone, like I said, with the easy topic. Let's be grateful for everything we've created. And not to say that gratitude is not an important topic, and I will drill that into you a lot. Fear is one topic that I think a lot of people overlook when we talk about success and when we talk about defining our success, because fear is there. And it's not going away. And I'm sorry by the way, whoever just signed up, say hello, because I'm in the computer and I can't see who shows up. So just drop a comment and say hi, because we are talking fear. And fear is an important topic because we all feel it. No one is fearless unless you're a sociopath, in which case maybe I'll need to escort you out of the group for a little bit. But today, the specific topic that I'm talking about is how fear usually affects our life and how we can move past fear. Because like I mentioned, fear isn't going away. It's going to be in our lives forever. So whoever's watching, do you feel fear? I know I do. I know I feel fear, at least a hint of fear, every morning for very different reasons. When I moved to the United States, I was scared shitless. During the past election, I was really, really scared. I didn't know I didn't have a legal status here in the United States yet, so I didn't know what was going to happen. When I started my business, when I got my first business loan, when I said yes to my husband that we were going to get married, those were very fearful moments for me. And I understand that we can all relate. So if you have any fears, any moments that you would like to share, please drop them in the comments, and maybe you will get some coaching in that today. I am open to doing some free coaching today because I am super happy. And when I'm happy, I coach. So let's dive in real quick and let's talk fear. So what is fear? For those of you that are watching, what is fear for you? How does fear manifest in your life? Fear is usually an emotion, and I want to hear for you. I want to hear how that comes up for you. It's an emotion, right? And in psychology, it's one of the core 4 or 5 emotions. We have anger, we have rage, we have happiness, and we have fear. And fear is a useful emotion. So let me make sure that that's clear from the get-go today. Fear is useful. And we're going to learn how to use it today. That's part of what we'll be talking about, how to use your fear. Fear is an emotion, and as we know, emotions are the things that drive our actions, okay? So we keep going back to this mindset thing. When you feel fear, you act a certain way. When you feel angry, you act a certain way. So how do you act when you're scared? Do you go into one of the 3 patterns? Fight, freeze, or flight? Yes, I got them all right. Which one is yours? I know that mine is fight, and it's not always smart. I fight till the end, and sometimes I burn out. So how does it manifest for you? When you experience fear, what does it do? Does it paralyze you? Does it make you unreasonable? Does it make you want to run away from maybe responsibilities or things that you're really committed to? I want you to identify now, and maybe drop it in the comment if you want. How does fear manifest in your life? Freeze, fight, or flight? Okay? Because we can talk and we can work on it today. Like I said, for me, it's fight. But the important part that we need to see on the more philosophical aspect of fear, beyond it being a very natural emotion, and it is a natural emotion because it is actually the emotion that keeps us alive. Since the beginning of time, it is the emotion, hi Brandy, your insecurity, yours is insecurity, and you run away, you fly. Yes, hi Ann. Well, I'm asking people to let me know, how does fear manifest in their lives? Okay, Brandy, you say that it manifests in flight for you. So you run away. You just feel really, really insecure. So what has that cost you right now? So when I hear flight, I hear evasion. Let me know if I'm wrong. I hear that sometimes you don't really know what to do, so you choose not to do anything, or you choose to take the easy way out. And there are prices we pay for that, right? And how does fear manifest in your life? Do you fight, freeze, or flight? Brandy, it's important that you acknowledge this, because you will start seeing a pattern. Once you really voice it out, once you really acknowledge how fear affects your life, you will start seeing a pattern. And once you see the pattern, that's when shit starts to get real and we can change it. So later on, I'm going to keep asking more questions. And if you want some coaching today, stay tuned, because I'm going to go in there and try to ask some in-depth questions. But thank you for sharing. Okay, like I was saying, fear is an important emotion because it keeps us fucking alive. Okay, since the cavemen started roaming the earth, fear kept us alive. But the thing is that fear, the things that they feared are no longer in our history. They're not part of our path. Fear is a very instinctive emotion. Okay, I want to drive this through. It's an instinctive emotion. It's a biological emotion. Okay, thing is that your instinct has a purpose, and it is to keep you alive. Now, sadly, to keep you alive, it will restrain you. So we need to get real about what is the relationship we have with fear. Okay, so is fear restraining you from what? What is fear keeping you from doing? Is it keeping you from going for the business that you want? Is it keeping you from having the relationship you really want? Because sometimes we are scared to be vulnerable in front of people because we don't know how they're going to reply to us, how they're going to receive us. What is fear costing you? Because that is instinct, it's not intuition. And I'm going to give you the difference between those two. Instinct is your biological response. Intuition is that voice inside yourself that tells you when something doesn't feel right. Okay? And it doesn't manifest like fear. It manifests as certainty. So when you feel fear, you're not listening to your inner voice. You're listening to the juices that flow in your body when you're scared to die. And fear can confuse real easy those situations, okay? Now, I'm going to give you, like I mentioned, the philosophical version of what fear is. A lot of self-helpy people, my bros and sis, say that fear stands for false events or evidence appearing real. I don't know if you saw the mindset video I did for Tuesday Tea this week, but I explain how we build our mindset through searching for evidence. Fear is always looking for evidence to be justified. Sadly, we tend to look for evidence when there's none. And this is a very important thing. It is the first tip that I'm going to give you when it comes to fear. Find and search for evidence of fear in your own life, not in someone else's life. Okay? Find and search the evidence of fear in your life, not in someone else's life. Because it's really easy for us to feel afraid of what other people fear. Because we are not looking for the evidence in our lives. We are looking for the evidence outside of ourselves. So that is when you start thriving through fear. Start looking for evidence. And when you don't find it, that's when you realize that this fear is based on bullshit. Okay? Your fear needs to be supported by some sort of evidence. And if it's not, it's going to be easier to move past it because that's when logic starts kicking in. Okay? And our thoughts build our emotions get our actions going. So once you find evidence, then that will either justify or eliminate where that fear is coming from. Your thoughts build your emotions. Fear is an emotion, right? We are going. Okay, so I made notes, by the way. And I want to get a little vulnerable with you right now. And I want to tell you what my biggest fear is. And God knows why I had to read that, because I am resisting it with all my heart right now. My biggest fear is to be a fraud. I have like a lot of women imposter syndrome. And if you know what that is, and if you feel imposter syndrome at some point in your life, please give me an amen, a holla, or a yes on that comment, because sisters, I know your pain. I know how difficult it is to walk through life thinking, yep, I knew it. Thank you, Ann. I know my sisters when I talk to them. Yeah, of course we're afraid of not being good enough. And that is usually the fear that keeps us from doing the shit that we need to do. Now, today we're going to talk about how to move past that shit. Okay? So how can fear manifest? Fear's a tricky bastard, because when it comes to the instinctive nature of your actions, it can manifest in two ways, and one of them is really treacherous. The first way it can manifest is through crippling doubt. A doubt that doesn't allow you to do anything. Brandy, let me know if that's you and we can talk about it. A doubt that doesn't allow you to move. Analysis paralysis. When you are scared to death and you are doubting every single thing you do, then you do nothing. Then that keeps you stagnant. That keeps you not moving forward. Okay? When you allow that to write your life, then you're gonna feel unhappy. That's when depression comes in. That's when we start battling anxiety, because we are really focused on the things that we can't control rather than the things that we can control. Doubt just chokes us, okay? So that is one way that fear can manifest in our lives, through crippling doubt. The second way, and this is a tricky one, and if you're like me, this might be the one that shows up for you, is blind confidence. Sadly, fear can show up like this, because when we do not take the steps to search into our life for the evidence, we are so fucking cocky, we are so fucking confident that we take action that opposes the way that we want our lives to go. That's definitely me. When I get something in my head and I don't have the balls to look into my life for that evidence, then I make some stupid mistake that will either hurt myself or hurt someone else. If you identify, please let me know. There's two ways: crippling doubt or blinding confidence. Whichever one you identify with, drop it down, even if you watch the replay. Why is it important to see that? Because the moment that you feel insecurity, then you will need to go into your heart and look for that evidence. And the moment where you feel infallible, then you will need to look into your heart and find that evidence. Thank you, Brandy. I want to ask you a few questions, Brandy. Okay, I lost you girls for a little bit. I'm sorry. Yeah, and it is possible to have both of them. And it's a very different situations, and it's gonna depend on where your sensibilities are. So you and I can talk a little bit more about that further. But Brandy, I wanna get to you and talk a little bit about your crippling doubt. When does it usually manifest for you? What are the situations where you usually feel that doubt really coming in? Is it your personal life, your relationships, your business? How does it manifest in your life? Let me know a little bit. Let me know. Drop it in the comment as I keep talking. The thing is that when we let either of these two manifestations of fear to take over our lives, then we risk hurting people, we risk hurting ourselves, and we risk not fulfilling our true potential. Okay? Because when we are in doubt, we do nothing. When we are too cocky, we do too much of the wrong things. Okay, so this is when we're coming in and talking about, okay, Brandy, let me see, doing anything new. Okay, but have you done, let me get an example. Have you done anything new recently that really made you feel like that and you actually did it? Tell me a little bit about that. Give me an example if you have one. If you've done something new that really felt like you were gonna die before you did it, and then you actually did it. Drop an example and let me help you through that, because that's exactly what I'm gonna talk about right now. How to move past fear. And the reality is that you don't move past fear, ladies. You move through fear. You don't move around fear, you move through fear. You don't move over fear, you move through fear. Okay? And sadly, it's the one thing that scares us the most, because it requires bravery. So I'm gonna teach you, and if Brandy shares with us one example of a situation in which she has personally experienced this fear in front of something new, and she has gone through it anyways, I'm gonna help her find the evidence. Okay, because that is the first thing that we're gonna find, that you're gonna need to move through fear. Actually, that's the second thing. The first thing is, oh, I almost lost it. I'm waiting. The first thing is thinking of the worst case scenario. Okay? And I know that might sound counterintuitive, but it's not giving fear too much time. It's just giving it enough time to think about the worst case scenario. What's the worst thing that could happen if X or Y manifests? This is the first step through moving through fear, thinking about the worst case scenario. Once you have your worst case scenario, which in my case, let's use mine and Anne's example of feeling like an imposter. Worst case scenario is I lose my business because people won't believe in me and won't trust me. Now, I have to think about, okay, so where in my life do I have proof that this can actually happen? Okay, so if my fear is being an imposter, where in my life do I have proof that this can actually happen? Or where in my life do I have proof that this is not gonna happen, that is a positive take on that note? Okay, so you start searching for evidence. In my case, I will start looking at, okay, I come into the group and I show up authentically. I don't sell myself with my clients. I call them out on their bullshit. I do not lie to anyone when it comes to my business, because let's face it, we sometimes say a little lies, but when it comes to this thing that matters, there's no fault in my case that somebody can find. So why am I scared to be discovered as a fraud? Where's this coming from? Is it coming from the conditioning that my mom gave me? Is it coming from the idea that I can't get too big for my britches? Is it coming from the idea that society gave me? In your case, Brandy, what is the worst thing that can happen if you do something new? I can assure you that the worst case scenario in any of these situations, if you really go into it, is that you die. And if you die, I promise you, you won't feel a thing. So what is really the worst thing that can happen? And the reason, okay, so let me see what you say. It took me a while to think. Yes, I decided to give a romantic relationship a second chance. It takes courage and vulnerability to work through our bullshit, but so far so good. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So what's the worst thing that can happen, right? That it doesn't work, that he cheats on you, or that you decide that you don't like him. But if you search through the evidence that this could happen, you are already putting in the work, right? You're already doing your part. Emotional heartbreak can't hurt you no matter what, because you're a human. But let me know what's the worst thing that could happen in this case. Yes, thank you for the support, Anne. That's the important part, being vulnerable. Okay, so let's find the evidence. It didn't work in the first place, so there is evidence for the fear. I'm sure that there was part of the fear that you were feeling. Well, it didn't work at the beginning. Why should it work this time? I'm going to give you the answer. The person at the beginning didn't give the relationship the chance that you're giving it right now. You are not the same human. So this evidence is no longer part of your history. You are building a new story, and by building a new story, you get to rewrite the ending. And the ending might not be the one you like, but the biggest evidence that you have is that you survived the first breakup. The worst thing that could potentially happen in this relationship is that you break up, and you ain't gonna die if you break up. You're gonna get yourself together, You're going to move into whatever it is that you need to move, and you're going to make shit happen for yourself. So when you find yourself in that vulnerability, find the last time where the worst case scenario happened or could have happened, and see that you have made it through. In this year in business, I thought about all the times that I've been broke and feeding myself through the charity of my friends with no money whatsoever in the bank. And then I look at myself when I feel fearful of that happening again. And I have to tell myself, well, you survived the first time. What's the worst thing that can happen now? That it might take a little longer? I doubt it. Just like a breakup, it takes less time as you exercise the muscle of vulnerability, as you exercise the muscle of bravery. It takes less time to recover. So whenever you find yourself facing a new situation that you're scared of, remember the last time you felt like that and realize that you survived that shit. So you're a badass bitch that survives badass shit. Okay? Okay, so the last thing that I want to bring in, so I mentioned that you need to look about the worst case scenario. You need to find evidence in your life that will support you moving through that fear. And the third and most important thing, and it's a two-part, is you need to share it with somebody. Because fear, just like shame, loses its power when you vocalize it. When you share it with somebody, you can come to this wall, you can text a friend, you can call someone. It's going to take vulnerability. But the second you share it, it's going to lose power. But here's the caveat. You need to be mindful of who you share it with, because you don't want bad juju coming into your fear. Whoever you share this with needs to be somebody that you know will lift you up, because you're sharing it because you don't want to be afraid. And if you share it with somebody that's even more of a scary cat than you are, then you're fucking screwed. And you know it, because we all have that friend that after we tell them something, we're like, I shouldn't have said that. And anxiety kicks in and depression kicks in. So that's the third step. You want to talk your fear. You want to talk about your fear. You want to be vulnerable, but you want to make sure that it's with somebody that's going to protect you, not bring you down. So that takes us into a whole different topic about boundaries, etc. But today we're going to leave it at that. When it comes to fear, I'm just going to wrap it up, and I'm just going to talk about that's your whole family. Then you need a new friend. If that's your family. Well, I'm not getting it. Your family is the ones that are going to lift you up, or are the ones that are going to bring you down. But I'm going to wrap it up right now and talk a little bit about everything we mentioned. So fear, in the philosophical sense, is false evidence or false events appearing real. Unless you find evidence for these things, you don't need to necessarily be afraid. Oh, and I forgot one thing, and I'm sorry. After you think about worst case scenario, if you find the evidence, prepare yourself. Okay? If you find a worst case scenario, what's the worst thing that can happen? And you can see it, prepare yourself for it. Not emotionally, because it's going to hurt like a motherfucker no matter what. But take the steps that you need to take. Do you need to save the money? Do you need to make sure that you set boundaries in that relationship? Do you need to make sure that you wear the belt when you're lifting that thing that once broke your back? Prepare yourself. The more prepared you are, the better it's going to go for you emotionally. The least likely it is that you're going to go into an instinctive response, because that preparation is going to serve as a positive reinforcement and as a positive evidence. Okay, now I'm ready to wrap it up. So fear is false events or false evidence appearing real. Fear is an emotion that serves us to stay alive, but it does not serve us to thrive. So we need to find the difference in the situations that will keep us from surviving and breathing, and the situations that are just uncomfortable and embarrassing. Let me tell you, public speaking is not going to kill you, okay? Another thing, fear manifests in your life in two ways. My worst case scenario on a regular basis is wedding case collapsing in delivery. Every time I make a fix I kid to make with me, I have no issues. When I don't, I'm scrambling to fix something. There's the thing. Be prepared. Thank you for sharing that, Anne. Thank you for sharing that. We need to prepare ourselves, because if we're scared and there's something that we can do, let's just do it. Okay? So coming back, the ways that fear can manifest in your life besides freeze, flight, and fight. Crippling doubt, and blinding confidence. Crippling doubt is going to paralyze you. Blinding confidence is going to make you not look at the potential consequences of your actions. You always want to make sure that you're looking at worst case scenarios and the things that you can fix or not. Yes, I am a person that believes in follow your heart, but I'm also a person that believes in take care of your heart, okay? I shared with you my worst fear, and you know, ladies, it gets easier and easier. So when it comes to moving through fear, because we can't get past fear, you need to look at what's worst case scenario. You need to prepare yourself for worst case scenario. You need to find evidence in your life that this thing happening is not going to kill you, because it has not killed you yet. Emotions won't kill you, I promise you. And the fourth thing, share your fear. Talk about your fear with somebody that deserves your trust and is gonna take care of you, not bring you down. Hey, that's it. Ladies and Brandy, thank you so much for sharing your hearts with me. I really appreciate it. If you wanna talk a little bit more about this, Brandy or Ann, just shoot me a message. I would be more than happy to just chit chat with you, ladies. I love you all. Oh my God, sorry, announcements. Okay, so Ann already knows this. There is a giveaway going on at Annie P. Woods, the Facebook page. So if you go there, you will see that you can participate by going to my Instagram page, liking it, and just mentioning a friend, tagging a friend, and you can get a free clarity session, one for you and one for your friend, before the year ends. I'm super excited for that because it's really going to make a difference. So you can participate from here to Sunday. I'm gonna pick the winner by Monday, and I'm really, really excited because I know that whoever I pick, if they got the guts to participate, it means that they wanna do something different with their lives. So make sure that you drop by and make sure that you do something different today, ladies. And I know you already did, and let's see if you win. I am using an aleatory picker, however you call it. Now, there's an announcement super important, and I'm gonna make a post about this. You remember, ladies, how I mentioned that there's gonna be a book club, an Untamed book club? Well, it's happening in January, and I'm super fucking excited, okay? So just so you know, this is the book that we will be reading, Extreme You, Step Up, Stand Out, and Kick Ass and Repeat by Sarah Rupp O'Hagan. And the book is a jewel. I started reading it and I was like, yep, this is the book that we're reading, because this woman is a badass. She has gone through so much, but more importantly, she has learned from the best. And we're gonna talk about how to become the extreme version of yourself, and this is gonna be awesome. So I'm gonna make a post about the book club. The book club is gonna happen in January, so we're actually gonna have, I think, a month and a week. So it's gonna happen in the 3rd week of January. We're gonna have like 5 weeks to read the book. Doesn't matter where you're at, it's gonna be a virtual book club. So we're gonna meet in Zoom, and we're just gonna chit chat. You can bring your drink, you can bring your PJs, we're gonna be comfy, and we're really gonna dive in what it means to be an extreme you. What I would encourage you to do is to, if you read the book, if you're reading it and you find a quote that you like, just share it in the group. Let us know that the book is awesome so that more people will learn, okay? So I mentioned giveaway. So that's a free shed, and I mentioned book club, so that's a nerdy shed. I think that I delivered on my promise. Thank you, ladies, for being here. I can't wait for what 2018 is bringing our way. Brandy, I am really happy you were here too. Everyone that sees the replay, you rock. Talk later.